Hi everyone, welcome back to this week's My Weekly Rage Fix. This week's Parsha, Parshas Vayeshev, we are introduced to the viceroy over the entire Egypt, that is Joseph, one of the 12 Shvatim, one of the 12 tribes. His story, in a very short order, is that his brothers were jealous of him because of certain dreams that they had. They felt that he was doing something wrong. He was sold as a slave to Egypt. In Egypt, he was convicted of a crime that he did not commit. And he was thrown into a dungeon, and in the dungeon he was put in charge over everybody else in the prison, and he interpreted some of these dreams, and ultimately what happened is that the Pharaoh himself had a dream, and he ended up interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, and Pharaoh was blown away by his genius, his wisdom, and he put him in charge over the entire land of Egypt other than the king himself. Now, the Torah tells us something very interesting, and that is his title given to him by Hashem in the Torah is that he was an Ish Matzliach. He was a man of success, or a successful man. And the Torah doesn't just give away titles for nothing. And what I want to share with you is why would the Torah give, or why does Hashem give Joseph this particular title, man of success? I mean, after all, Abraham was quite successful as well. He underwent 10 trials and tribulations, and he passed them all with flying colors. Isaac had also many tests. He was brought up as an offering, and he had trouble with one of his sons. And Jacob also was an incredible, personality, very successful. So the question is, why then does the Torah give this particular name to Joseph himself and not to anyone else? And the answer is given that this is by the Ksaf Sofer. He underwent different tests than everybody else had. I mean, Abraham had tests, and those tests, though, were testing his courage, testing his faith in Hashem, and he passed those. However, the tests that Joseph went were a different type of test, the type of test that would have made the typical person feel like such a loser, such a lowlife. Here his own brothers are selling him as a slave. I mean, who else has that? He has the Mitzrayim, or the Egyptian, or the Ishmaelites dragging him through the land of Egypt. He finally gets sold as a slave, again another loserish job, and then he gets convicted of a crime that he didn't commit, and he's down in the deepest of the dungeons. He's got to feel, is there any bigger loser on earth than me? And especially from where I came from. I mean, my father is Jacob, my grandfather's Isaac, my great-grandfather's Abraham. Me, I should be in a dungeon? So imagine how low he would have felt. Yet the Torah is telling us that at every single low point in his life, what was Joseph's reaction? This is for my success. Somehow, this is going to raise me up a notch and bring me to the top of my ladder. How? I'm not sure yet. I'm going to wait for Hashem's plan to materialize. But everything that I went through, whether he was when he was thrown into the pit, when he was thrown into a dungeon, when he was sold as a slave, his attitude the entire time was, this is for my success. And we have to take that lesson. Sometimes things happen to us, and when we live short-sightedly, we get angry and we're frustrated. But Hashem says, don't worry, big picture. But the question is, who are you going to be when that short-sighted story happens? Are you going to be the guy that gets all angry, or the girl that gets all angry and frustrated? Or are you going to be the one that says, you know what? Somehow this is for my success. And when we live like that, Hashem will confer the title upon us one day when we come upstairs and say, you too, my friend, or my son, or my child, were also a successful person. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Talk to you soon.